Since we had everything, called the meeting to order. We do have a quorum, and so I'm going to go ahead and turn this meeting over to Rob. Wait, I guess let me just make an announcement. We need to make sure that we all understand that this meeting is it's not a substantive meeting to go over the subject. We're just here to take the information and set a hearing date. And that is the extent of the special meeting for today.
And to appoint a hearing officer, Chairwoman Cloud.
Hearing officer, I'll add that to my list. Thank you. So I'll go ahead and turn this over to Rob.
Great, thank you. Can everyone see my screen? I have a really short presentation. For the record, Rob Veal, CWCB staff. This is for the one sole agenda item for this special meeting, the proposed acquisition of an interest in the Shoshone water rights for inland flow use on the Colorado River. Excuse me. At the last CWCB meeting on May 21st, staff presented an offer to the board from the Colorado River Water Conservation District and Public Service Company of Colorado for an interest in the Shoshone water rights for inland flow purposes. Pursuant to ISF Rule 6M, that provides any person may request the board hold a hearing on a proposed ISF acquisition, since the last meeting was only informational only. Within the required deadline, 4 entities filed to request a hearing, those being Aurora Water, Colorado Springs Utilities, Denver Water, and Northern Colorado Water Conservancy District. All materials for this acquisition, including those notices for requesting a hearing, are posted on the website with the URL down below, and they're included in the board in their packet as well. So as per ISF Rule 6M5, the board then has must consider the request and may, in its sole discretion, grant or deny such a request for a hearing. And a hearing must occur within a 120-day period for consideration according to Rule 6B. And so that 120 days starts from that May 21st day. The 120-day period ends on September 18th, 2025. And if a hearing is granted in this matter, notice will be provided to the required lists, and any person who desires to be a party or obtain party status must do so by a submission in writing to the board office by the end of the day on July 9th, which is a week after the notices can be sent out. So having said that, as in staff's memo, staff recommendation is to grant the request for a hearing in this matter, to schedule the hearing in conjunction with the September 16th through 18th, 2025 CWCB meeting, and to appoint the Senior Assistant Attorney General, Jackie Clickleo, as the hearing officer. That's staff recommendation. That's all I have for a presentation, but I can answer any questions that may have.
So do we have any quick questions? I do have one for you, Rob. On September or July 9th for the deadline, it's at the end of the business day, correct?
I was going to have it at the end of the day, just because, business days, we don't have to physically hand these in anymore. So, but it will all be included in the notice at the end of the day on July 9th.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification. Is there any other, Robert Sakata?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Rob, I'm just so familiar with Water Quality Control Commission proceedings. The request for party status, do they have to provide any other written materials, why they want to be a party, or an initial statement? Are there any requirements in the timeline leading up to our eventual hearing?
There are requirements. Thank you for that question, Director Scotta. There are requirements that they're identified in the ISF rules, which will be included in the notice that I send out. But you have to identify your name and a brief statement of why you want to have party status in this matter. And then after that, the hearing officer will assign deadlines of when materials will be due to be submitted as part of party status.
Very good. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Madam Cloud?
Yes, go ahead.
I was curious if there's a requirement on the September potential hearing date if the board must reach conclusion or a ruling on that hearing date?
I'm wondering if Director, or I guess not Director, Counselor Clerclio can answer that question.
I would need to go back and double check. My understanding is yes, that the board would have to either grant, deny, or grant with conditions. So that's my understanding of what needs to happen, but within that 120 days to have the hearing and have a decision. If the board does not make a decision at that time, I believe the clock would have to restart on everything. So I would have to double check that all though.
And
Mrs.
with that in
Council.
mind, I just wanted to mention too, that if the 120, that is my understanding. As well, so that the decision has to be made by that time. So when scheduling, the hearing officer will provide the actual scheduling of the hearing, but if the hearing is on, say, the 16th, the decision would not necessarily have to be made until the 18th. That the board could deliberate for those extra days until the 120-day period is comes to an end.
Thank you for that additional clarification, Rob.
Okay, is there any other questions?
Yeah, Lorelai? Director
Yes.
Clark?
Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Just on that note of what we were just talking about, if something happens at the hearing though, is there the potential, if all parties agree, to be able to extend decision-making time period if, in writing with agreement? Or is that, you may need to look at that too, but it seems like that could be an option as well.
I can get back to you on that as well for the board. I will note that my understanding is at this point, from my recollection of the rule, that we would have to start the process over again rather than have an extension.
I can speak to that a little bit unless Director Felt was going to. I don't want to jump in front of Director Felt if he was going to respond to that.
Well, yeah, thanks, Jen. I don't know. I'm speaking from my experience as a county commissioner that when we had deadlines like this, the deadline was to convene the hearing and you could continue it if you need to. So I don't know. I think this, and John, I see Director McLeod has his hand up. He's pretty good on the parliamentary stuff, so maybe he's got the answer. But yeah, I think we got to get this one figured out. I'm not sure if it's that clear.
Well, there's a rule that addresses this issue. And Director McLeod, are you going to speak to the rule?
I'm going to speak to the statute.
Great.
The statute says the board shall determine in a timely manner not to exceed 120 days unless further time is granted by the requesting person or entity, what terms and conditions it will accept. The requesting party requests an additional time. We have to make the decision, the determination within 120 days.
Okay, is there any other questions?
If I can just jump in, Director Cloud, and suggest that we'll have further conversation with the Attorney General's office and get a definitive answer to that before the hearing.
Okay, and we do have the staff recommendation in front of us. And let me see if I can get back to that view. Maybe.
I'm sorry, would you like me to share my screen again with the staff recommendation on there?
Could you please?
I will.
We can, and I'll entertain a motion. Okay, so we do have, Taylor, you raised your hand?
Sure, I'll make a motion to move staff recommendation.
Okay, motion made by Taylor Hawes. Do I hear a second?
I'll second. This is Director Combs.
Thank you, Director Combs. Motion made and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? No opposed. Motion passes. Okay, thank you. As Jackie, do we need anything else?
No, just to note, Rob already gave the deadlines that he will also be issuing the public notice, and then once we have parties, I will set up a procedural schedule for this hearing for everyone that decides to come in as a party. So thank you
Okay.
all so much.
Great, thank you, everyone. And do I have here a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
By who?
Second.
Oh,
Who made the motion? I'm sorry.
Greg Felt.
Thank you, Director Felt. Do I hear a second?
Quick question, sorry.
Go ahead.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Do we need to officially vote on appointing Jackie Clickio as the hearing officer as well?
So I think that one motion was for all, correct?
I have a quick question before we adjourn. It was said that there's still a chance that there could be other information coming after today. They're not going to bombard us with a bunch of information like 5 days before the meeting, are they? I mean, is there a deadline for all that information to be on, Ian?
Yeah, so Director Camlin, that'll all be provided by the hearing officer, by Jackie Policlio. There will be deadlines for pre-hearing statements once the parties submit the request to be in the hearing. There will be additional information, but there will be a deadline that will have to be provided to the board. So it won't be days before the hearing.
Good, thank you.
And one last thing too, I didn't know if, Chair Cloud, if there was any public comment that needed to be made.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Is there any public comment? I forgot about that.
I know the River District had intended to.
I did see
say
Andy.
something quickly.
Yeah.
Looks like his hand is up.
Andy, you have your hand raised?
Yeah. Well, Madam Chair and Board, I just want to take a brief moment to thank the board for convening in a special meeting today and moving this forward. We look forward to the hearing and we appreciate the effort and the time that you and the staff have put into this effort and look forward to finishing this up in September. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Okay, I don't see any other hands raised. And I do have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mike. Motion made and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none. Meeting is adjourned at 2:22 p.m. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.